Greta and the Giants, inspired by Greta Thunberg's Stand to Save the World by Zoe Tucker and Zoe Persico. There once was a girl who lived at the heart of a beautiful forest. Her name was Greta. One morning, things weren't quite as they should be. Greta stepped out into the yard, and there, huddled together in the shadows of the trees, were all the animals of the forest. A soft, silvery brown wolf stepped forward, with his tail low to the ground. "Please help us," he whispered. "The forest is broken, and we don't know where to go. The giants are ruining our home." The giants had always been there, for as long as Greta could remember. But now they were worse than ever. They were huge, lumbering oafs, and they were always busy. They chopped down trees to build homes. Then they chopped down more trees and built bigger homes. The houses grew into towns, and the towns grew into cities. They built factories and shops and cars and planes. They worked all day and all night, until eventually there was hardly any forest left. But the greedy giants had forgotten how wonderful the forest was. They didn't see all the little birds and bugs and butterflies and bears that trembled in the shadows. And no one told them to stop because everyone was scared of them. Everyone except Greta. "Will you help us?" asked the wolf. Greta looked around her. The animals looked tired and sad. She had to help them, but how? Then Greta had an idea. The next morning, Greta went to the middle of the forest and waited for the giants to come. She stood alone, holding a big sign. The sign said, "Stop!" She waited and waited. On the first day, the giants didn't see her and lumbered on by. And on the second and third, too. But on the fourth day, something strange happened. A little boy who had been watching Greta made a sign and came and sat down next to her. He didn't say much, but Greta knew he felt like she did. Listen. Soon, more people and animals saw what they were doing and joined in too. You'll have to buy the book to read the rest of the signs. Before long, a huge crowd filled the forest, stretching out to the city and the roads beyond. They stood together and waited. The crowd was so huge that the giants were stopped in their tracks. "Please stop!" Greta cried. "Your greedy behavior is spoiling our home. You've broken the trees and trampled the flowers, and now the bees and birds have flown away. These animals are homeless, and our forest is dying." After Greta had spoken, everything was silent. But then, everyone in the crowd began to shout, "The smoke from your fires is choking the air. And please stop cutting down the trees. You can help plant some new ones. And mend my home. We need to take care of our forest and live together. Will you please try?" they all said. The giants shuffled and fidgeted and stomped their feet on the ground. They were embarrassed and a little bit sad. You see, the giants were so busy building, they didn't see what they were doing to the forest or the animals who lived there. The giants felt terrible. "We're sorry," they said, and they promised to try harder. So from that day on, the greedy giants weren't so greedy. They slowed down and learned to sit quietly. They stopped working all the time and instead took up new hobbies. They stopped chopping down trees and learned all about gardening and living in the forest. They cooked, repaired, tidied, and shared, and before long, the forest became more beautiful than they could ever have imagined. This story is inspired by a real girl called Greta Thunberg. The story you've just read has a happy ending, but in the real world, Greta is still fighting the giants. They might not be as easy to see as they are in this book, but they are there. And some of the giants don't want to change their ways. That's why Greta needs your help. You might think that you are too little, but Greta says, no one is too small to make a difference. Here are some things you can do to help Greta. Learn everything you can about climate change. Tell your friends and family all about what you have learned. Ask your parents or guardians to take you on a climate protest so you can stand up to the giants. Ask your teacher if your class can write to or visit your elected officials to ask them to stop climate change. Walk, run, cycle, or take the bus or train instead of getting in the car or taking a plane. This means less fossil fuels are burned. Try to get your family to eat less meat. Ask your parents or guardian to buy food made nearby instead of from a faraway country. Look after the things you have. Mend them when they are broken instead of buying new things. Share them with your friends when you've finished with them. You might think it won't make a difference, but if we all work together, we can change the world. By buying a copy of this book, you are making a donation of 3% of the cover price to 350.org. 350.org was named after 350 parts per million, the safe concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. You can read the rest. For Adam, with love, ZT. To Mom and Dad for your continuous support and endless inspiration, ZP. That was Greta and the Giants, inspired by Greta Thunberg's Stand to Save the World by Zoe Tucker and Zoe Persica. And this is EDU Kids Space. Subscribe for more stories, books, and lessons, and if there's something in particular you'd like to learn about, leave us a message in the comments. You can buy this book, there's a link in the description, and if you liked my reading of it, please give the video a thumbs up. And subscribe for more books.